Exactly 1 hour ago from this time, 1809, it came through. Kaizer Chiefs, at Kaizer Chiefs on Twitter. Club updates. Chiefs and Ntseki part ways. And I quote, following a meeting on Monday morning, Molefi Ntseki's tenure as head coach of Kaizer Chiefs has ended amicably by mutual consent. We wish him all the best. Next tweet. Cavin Johnson will take over as first team coach on an interim basis. Current assistant coach Dylan Shepherd will retain his position under Johnson. Continues in the next tweet. Assistant coach Arthur Zwane will return to his former role within the development structures of the club. Full stop and end quote. 086 000 2160. Thank you so much for the touchdown. They do it again tomorrow between 3 and 6. It's big breaking news. On the eve of the first show, well, I mean, it's an eve later, isn't it? Because it was Saturday. When we thought the box would dominate conversation today, Chief said, no. We can one bet you.
Mara, you read that thing like we had a funeral, man.
Is it not? Somebody's fired, Chief.
Sure. Yeah.
Eh?
You gotta recopy.
Somebody's gone.
I guess.
Mazola Molefi is here. He's going to let you know. Yesterday already, there were signs. I think he knew. You heard the kickoff that we just played for you. He started speaking a lot more in recent days about being fired, about being let go. So I think he knew. The referee is with us as well. The principal. I'm not sure the principal's got much to do in terms of content.
Tlamugaya 1 minute.
Tlamugaya 1 minute inyana. Tlamugaya 1 minute inyana because kuna le penalty excited. There's a penalty that I'm not so sure about. I get so we'll go to it. Hey, we call ourselves the three wise men, but hey, we're not always so wise. Every single Monday we come through with the weekend that was. There was F1 racing. There was tennis, rather cricket, where South Africa beat England. There was rugby where South Africa beat England. But as you know, tomorrow is an entire hour of the rugby. We might even, this coming Friday, have an entire hour of build-up. Podcast Friday, rugby style. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. There's a final on Saturday.
Mark Haskins and Mkonza are going to talk about rugby.
We'll see. We'll get new Mark Haskins and Mkonza. We'll get a rugby Nadim. We'll see. 12 of the hour 6. Welcome to it. This show today is highly dependent on you as a Corsi fan. What do you think? How do you feel? The three wise men are in the building. Let's take a break. When we come back, we go to India, where we'll speak to Cass Naidu about South Africa's triumph over the weekend and what they can look forward to coming forward now in the cricket. And then Mazola Molefi tells us a lot more details. Hopefully.
Yeah, I get Chiefs Day.
Let's take a break and quickly take Kazi. Go India. That's what country.
I don't think it's a question that has to be answered now because I'm employed by the club. We have technical conversations. We look into incidents like this and we have meetings to discuss what are possibilities going forward. But for you to ask a question to say, how do I see my future at Kaizer Chiefs? I don't think this is the platform for us to entertain that question.
He says meetings to discuss. I guess the meeting did happen this morning.
There was a meeting this morning.
Yeah.
Molefi Ntseki's there. There's a lot more that we're going to be playing you from Molefi Ntseki's, but of course we'll dissect it and speak about it in a while. Right now, though, we need to cross all the way to India. Cricket commentator and sports broadcaster extraordinaire Cass Naidu now joins us. Cass, where in India are you?
I am in the state of Tamil Nadu in Chennai, where Pakistan are playing Afghanistan.
Oh, yes, that match is currently underway at the moment. 262 for 2 is what Afghanistan are with a target of 283. 21, well, it's just gone to 19 from 24 balls. It looks like they can go all the way. Have you been watching this particular match? Have you been following?
I've been busy commentating on the game, and it's incredible because 7 times they've met previously in ODI cricket, and Afghanistan has never beaten Pakistan. So once again, they're in a position for another giant killing after beating England. They now look on course to beat Pakistan for the first time, also to chase the highest ever total against Pakistan in a World Cup. So lots of records being broken, which is fantastic at the World Cup.
Yeah, speaking of giant killing, the Netherlands beating South Africa. Didn't see that one coming.
That was horrible. I mean, that was downright horrible. I was in down Charlotte calling that game, and then had to chat to Temba afterwards and had to ask him the tough questions. It was really a poor performance, but then if you flip the script and say it was really an outstanding performance from Netherlands, because when you look at how long they probably worked on this and strategized, they came out with their little pieces of paper and they knew exactly what they wanted to do, right? This was the game they really identified as one they wanted to win. They caught South Africa at a time when it probably was the right time for them. But then they really set things up for South Africa against England because England copped it big time afterwards. So very disappointing to lose to Netherlands, and I think it's something that South Africa need to go back and look at when they play smaller teams, how they approach that and how they go about it. Because what we've seen in this World Cup is any team on their day can win.
I mean, with some great performances with the bat from several South Africans, which I'm hoping was the same thing we're going to be seeing going into the match tomorrow, Cass. What can we expect tomorrow?
Well, I think it's going to be a challenge in terms of South Africa being able to take on Bangladesh. It depends on the surface as well. If it's spin-friendly, then it could be a challenge. But they are playing at Wankhede again, and we saw what they did to England. What it seems like is when South Africa bat first, they bat with such freedom. You saw them just hammer England's bowlers all over the park. I mean, that partnership of 150 between Carson and Janssen, nobody saw coming. Because once Miller went out, they thought, oh, that's it. South Africa could get to 280. They got to 400. Then the challenge is when South Africa are chasing and how they tend to bottle up. And that's something they really need to look at. So setting a score and then bowling a team out, that seems to be the way to go. But chasing a target has been something they've come up short against certain teams. I back them against Bangladesh. I think they will have taken great confidence from their win against England. But the bowlers were excellent. I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Kaizer Rabada and Ncube at the moment. In the absence of Andile Nokia, you really need your premier bowlers to stand up, and they have. I'd like to see Tabari Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj getting more into the game, and perhaps, we'll start seeing that. But the game I'm really looking forward to is South Africa versus Pakistan. It's happening in Chennai on Friday. It's the game that I'm working on, and it'll be interesting to see what kind of circus they produce. And Pakistan are always up for a South Africa game. Who isn't, actually? Everyone plays their best cricket against South Africa, and it says a lot for the reputation that this team has. I think the big challenge as well for South Africa is around deft bowling and closing out a team. When you have a team 7 wickets down, you've got to shut it out. So there are a couple of areas they're going to want to look at and work on. But what a sensational win against England. I was blown away just to see how England fell apart against quality bowling.
Lastly, Cass, having seen everyone now, having seen the strengths and weaknesses, having seen how the underdogs are stepping up at this World Cup, where do you put South Africa going to, the business end of this tournament? Are we a team that can truly compete for championship? Or do you think this is another year where we're going to come back and speak about we need more, we need to do better?
We were talking about that today, about all the teams actually, and one of the things we said is, yes, in the group stages it's fine. It's about once you get into the semi-finals, on your day anyone can win. India are going really well at the moment, right? They've got 5 wins in a row, but when will they come unstuck? They have been very good at chasing, but setting a total and going on to win. So certain teams are going to be challenged now at the business end, the second half of this group stage. I do believe South Africa has what it takes to get into the semi-finals. I hope they can go one better and get into a final, because I believe that if they get into a final, they can win it. But you can't be getting unstuck in a semi-final, because then it's another 4-year wait to show the fans what you can do. We take real confidence from what the Springboks are doing, by the way. We watched a lot of rugby from India. So, we're hoping that South Africa can also produce on the cricket field as well and give the fans something to shout about. International
broadcaster, cricket commentator, live from India, where she's busy commentating on the current game that is on your screens right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the imitable Cass Naidoo. Cass, thank you very much.
Thanks, Andile.
Appreciate her always, all the way from India, talking to us. Thank you, Cass Naidoo. Let's take a break. When we come back, Mazola's writing numbers and numbers and numbers as we're going to be speaking about Kaizer Chiefs. They have let go of their coach, Molefi Ntseki. I said fired a little bit earlier on Twitter, and people were like, no, he wasn't fired. He was, what did they say?
parted ways amicably.
No, man. There's a phrase everybody said. He was sacked. Like, guys, what does sacked mean? Go do some education. But also, the other thing I want to talk about is the Carling Knockout. The Carling Black Label Knockout, a great tournament that's seen absolutely amazing football, amazing scorelines, some huge upsets. I've loved watching it. But the man of the match issue.
Eish.
The fans are choosing man of the match. And for a very long time, fans have been going at us because it's the commentators, it's the analysts, it's Mazola and Andile for a very long time before the rights were not with SABC. We're part of that choosing of man of the match. At the moment, it's just the fans that are choosing man of the match. Andile Jali winning in that match, or Swallows were absolutely horrible.
The fans with a culling in their hands.
The fans are the ones that are voting. What do you make of what the voting system has been so far? Do you think that the fans have been getting it right? There's been a lot of talk on that as well. But when we come back, Mazola Molefi, because, well, the other Molefi has been let go, sacked. Kaizer Chiefs have won 33% win rate, which is won 3 of the 9 DStv Premiership games under Molefi Ntseki, the third lowest win rate of a Chiefs coach in the PSL era. This excludes all the caretakers. He is just ahead of Cavin Hunt to 21% and Babichan Solanis on 29%. That's how low it's been for Kaizer Chiefs thus far. If you look at games again, they've lost 15 games in all competitions since the start of 2023, which is the joint most in a calendar year in the PSL era. 15 also back in 2021. 16 stats from the last 16. You have to go all the way to Optajabu to get that one there. Welcome to it. Molefi Ntseki has been sacked by Kaizer Chiefs. It read amicably parting ways, which basically says we sat him down and told him he has to go, and he agreed and is going to go without a fight.
Yeah, well, he's not always been so robust in his comments, pre-match or post-match, but you kind of got the sense in the last couple of weeks that he probably the writing was on the wall, possibly. I mean, it's probably a lot of things. I mean, the numbers I was writing down now, I'm going back to 2015 when they last won a trophy under Stuart Baxter. They've had Kompela, Solinas, Ernst Middendorp, Cavin Hunt, Baxter again, Arthur Zwane, and Ntseki. 7 coaches in that space of time. In the 8 years that they've been without a trophy, they've averaged a coach a season, pretty much. Steve Kompela yesterday, after the Carling Cup knockout game against Richards Bay, he delved into this conversation about Kaizer Chiefs, and he called it himself a former Kaizer Chiefs coach who was there for 3 years and kind of left in the same fashion now that Molefi Ntseki is leaving, because you remember he resigned on the back of fans, in Durban throwing objects, and he said it's a perpetual state of disaster because you are doing the same things over and over. And remember, Steve was consistent in his line of thinking that during his time at Chiefs, he was supposed to be given enough time to form a team together that plays together, and eventually when they click, you can't catch them. But Chiefs haven't been able to sustain that, and the results are there to show, and Coach Ntseki has walked away. By the way, we also forgot to mention that Arthur Zwane has also he's no longer part of the first team technical team, has been demoted back to
So for the first time since joining Stuart Baxter, I think it was, a man that has been the assistant there, has been told to go back to where he was in development. They've kept Dylan Shepherd alongside with Kevin Johnson.
Yeah.
Kevin Johnson, not the coach, an interim coach at the moment. But let's be honest, because so many of you hung Mazola out to dry. Mazola and I were hung to dry when we told truths here about Nabi. We're told, no, there was never such a thing. There was never a Nabi. You guys made it up. Where did you get that information from?
Yeah.
But it was true. Not only was it true, it went to speak about how Molefi Ntseki was never the person who was aimed at or who was targeted to be coach of Kaizer Chiefs in the first place.
And I can tell you for a fact that Coach Molefi Ntseki was also part of the process to try and hire a new coach, because he was the head of technical and youth at the time. So he would have had, possible conversations with, possible incoming coaches, Nabi being one of them.
So he was put in a position that he wasn't ready for, nor he wanted.
And when I think it was a week or two before the players reported back for pre-season, Chiefs were still without a coach. Therefore, they needed...
And Nabi wasn't working out.
Nabi wasn't working out, since we reported that it was mainly because of the Arthur Zwane factor.
The very same Arthur Zwane now that's been demoted.
So this Chiefs called it a restructure when they brought Coach Ntseki in. I think now it's probably a proper restructure in the sense that Kevin Johnson, obviously still within the club, having been hired about a month ago as the head of youth, coming on as interim head coach, and Arthur Zwane being removed completely back to the youth development and Dylan Shepherd keeping his place. That probably looks more of a restructure than new faces, so to speak, whereas you kept Arthur Zwane there, demoted him to being assistant, and Coach Ntseki was the head coach. But as I said, the writing had been on the wall.
But also there was nothing subtle about the way Kaizer Chiefs brought on Kevin Johnson, because we knew what Kevin Johnson is capable of. We know what Kevin Johnson has done within the DSTV Premiership. As far as the PSL is concerned, of the 4 coaches, including Dylan Shepherd, Arthur Zwane, and Molefi Ntseki, he was the most senior, the most experienced of the lot. And you were, having us believe that, no, he's just going to go and quietly sit in the back there. And as the caller, we played you the clip just now, said back then even, as a Molefi Ntseki, who sat there before, even I would have thought, okay.
Yeah, I think there's 2 school of thoughts here, Andile. One would say Kevin Johnson has a background as a youth coach, so bringing him in that position when it's vacant makes sense. There's another school of thought that would say a coach that experienced, who finished runners-up with Platinum Stars way back when, with little to no resources, then took up a job to go to Al Ahly, comes back to Kaizer Chiefs. When things are not going so well, the writing is on the wall. So that's how I would view it. 2 school of thoughts, and surprised that he's now the interim head coach, not by a mile, but in the manner maybe. And I don't think maybe there's any malicious intent from Kevin Johnson. The man was without a job for 2 years. So if Chiefs come calling, you take the job.
It's not going to happen that we speak to Kevin Johnson. But I would have loved to know the conversation when he was hired, because I'd like to believe that there was this in the conversation. There was the potential. There must have been.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he didn't go into it thinking.
Or if it was not a conversation to say, hey, there's this potential, this is what we're thinking.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So Muzzle and I spoke about when we were chasing the Nabi story. The Nabi story, actually, we weren't chasing it, was coming to us, and we're speaking to Nabi's people at the time. I remember Timmy was speaking to the manager and speaking to Nabi himself at the time, and we were getting a real-time update of the conversations between Kaizer Chiefs and Nabi, and when they were breaking down, even when Nabi, decided to fly to Europe, I think it was at the time.
Yeah. You went to Belgium, yeah.
We were privy to all of that. We brought that to the radio. Hey, we were hung to dry. We trended for the first time, actually, as a Three Wise Men. We trended for the first time. I mean, we'd go on to train for Orlando Pirates and Sundowns fans who, think we support one or the other, which is all good. The person who remembers this all too well, the weekday ZA, are re tshwarelletlhe. Chiefs re tshwarisa stress.
Well, at least someone is issuing an apology.
No, it's okay. That's why we're here. We're here to tell you the truth and then come out of it that. But now, let's talk about Kevin Johnson. Who is Kevin Johnson as far as coaching is concerned? What can he give to this Kaizer Chiefs side? I think the most prominent job he's probably had is an assistant to Peter Msimane at Al Ahly. I think that was the biggest. But then one might come back and say, no, man, I think what he did at Platinum Stars was a bigger profile job.
Brand of football. At the time, it was neck and neck with Stuart Baxter, who ended up winning the league title for Kaizer Chiefs at the time. If I'm not mistaken, it's must have been Stuart's last year at Chiefs, 2015, if not the first. But I think it's the last season Kaizer Chiefs won, because remember, Stuart Baxter won 2 titles in 3 years. Kevin Johnson was neck and neck with Stuart Baxter with Platinum Stars. Remember Mohaku Ngele at the time being a superstar who later moved on to join Mamelodi Sundowns. Kevin Johnson's brand of football, you name a whole list of players that have gone on greater things. The name that stands out is Steven Pienaar. He uncovered him, and Steven Pienaar, obviously he's retired now. He's a youth coach at Ajax Amsterdam. He comes from Kevin Johnson's hands. A lot of coaches speak highly of Kevin Johnson, but this particular job, I think it's a poison chalice. Poison chalice.
Really?
It's going to be extremely difficult. He's not had a preseason. He's just come in. Let's assume the fact that he's come in with good intentions to just
22nd of September.
Yeah, to just be the head of youth without any prior conversations.
So he's been at Chiefs for exactly a month.
Correct. Let's assume he's come in and they've said, this is your job. No lofty ambitions to be the head coach at the club. He's had no preseason. He's had no influence with regards to who the players are signed and whatever the case may be. And then he's being thrown in the deep end where now fans are crying for don't stretch the trophy drought to 9 years. And Cavin Johnson comes into that situation. Yeah, it's just difficult to see him succeed in the short term, unless there's a mentality shift at the club to give him the head coach role over a long term and expect results at a later stage. 2
trophies still to play for, of course, as far as Kaizer Chiefs is concerned. There's the Nedbank, which is still...
Are you counting the league?
And the league?
No.
That's still to play for?
No.
Are you saying that's gone?
No chance.
Gone?
No chance.
Okay, so they've just got the Nedbank to stop the drought being 9 years.
Correct. No chance. With Sundowns and Pirates playing the way they are, and SuperSport in the mix, and maybe even you can even throw a Golden Arrows as a dark horse. I know it's early days, 8 days, but 8 games. But Pirates playing the way they are, Sundowns having won the last 6 league titles. You are going to add Kaizer Chiefs, who've just changed the coach now, into the mix. No chance.
Well, what do you think? We're going to hand it over to you because this is your show. This is your conversation. We'd love to hear what it is that you've got to say. But when you look at that table, maybe based on just numbers is what I'm basing it on, and not based on form or anything.
Count the
like
gap
that.
Already now. I think
Sundowns
are 13 points.
24. Yeah.
13 points clear. 13 points.
It is 13 points clear
No
with the game in hand, mind you, because Chiefs have played 9, Sundowns have played 8.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Have a listen to this. This is a conversation we've been having for a while, and like I say, there's a reason I back my team. There's a reason the Podcast Friday guys are backed by me here. There's a reason every single Monday I back my guys, because everything they've said in the last 3 months is what's happening now. Nadim?
Yeah, with Cavin Johnson, I honestly think is a good appointment as a head coach, not development. Development, I think.
So then it's not a good appointment.
He is, because he does have a history of development. It's a good opportunity being part of the biggest team in South Africa in whatever capacity. But I honestly think they are missing the mark by putting in the development. He needs to be as a head coach of Kaizer Chiefs, because at the moment, the coaching there that is not doing a good job. I honestly think he can really improve the team if it's installed as a head coach, because Kaizer Chiefs now, they've signed 10 players, as Jesse Kamtong has said. I don't know if they're going to add more, but from what I've seen, they need a coach. I thought Zwane and Ntseki, I mean, if you are talking about patience, it is no time in football. This is football. There's no time for patience in football, especially if you are coaching a team that is fighting to win the league. Sundowns are already on 21 points after 7 games, which is 100% record. I mean, if you are with your patience, where are you going to end up? Are you fighting for number 8 or number 9 or number 10? Unless Ntseki tell us that the mandate of Kaizer Chiefs is to be in the top 12, then the patience is acceptable. But if you want to be in the top 4 or top 3 teams in South Africa, as Kaizer Chiefs are the best team in the country historically, no, the patience is
Cavin
not going
Johnson. This is the conversation we've been having. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we go to the referee for his 1 minute, as Mazola has given him. Areva atli content ya high today. Not even no rana yona. Yeah, I thought of a zone. Even then, and then we're going to be taking your calls a lot earlier than normal. Normally we take them at 45. Today we'll be taking your calls at 1840. Give us a call 086 000 2160. Breaking news: Molefi Ntseki has been sacked as the coach of Kaizer Chiefs. It's 1837. And Mazola is going to come back very quickly because the PSL, Zalama Javu, had said to Kaizer Chiefs that if it happens again, they were under suspension, or rather under
suspended sentence.
Suspended sentence. That's, hey, you born, man. You are here. You are here.
When is law? That's where I come in.
They were under a suspended sentence for their behavior of throwing fans, or rather the fans throwing things at the coach. Yeah. And they've obviously violated that. So we'll get into the Mazola in just a bit. Right now, before we take your calls, Ref, what do you have for us? Give us one, just one, one big one. You can catch him on Soccer Zone this evening, SABC 1 at 10 o'clock. He'll be giving you a lot more. But right now, Ref, one.
A tackle or challenge that endangers the safety of an opponent or using excessive force or brutality must be sanctioned as serious foul play. As we have seen in the Parker and Zungu situation, a red card was issued immediately. That was good from the referee.
But can that sentence be any bigger than just a red card? Can it be reviewed and then made bigger than what it is?
I've never seen it.
The only time it can be increased is when the referee writes a misconduct report, especially when a player is sent off and it takes time to leave the field of play. As you can see, he was protesting with the finger. So that took time for him to leave because the player who is sent off must leave the field of play. So if a referee can send a report, misconduct report, that after getting a red card, he did not leave the field of play immediately.
But for the actual incident, a red card with the punishment of what the red card comes with is the most that can happen. Just as for the incident, never mind what he did after.
Yeah, from the referee's side and the loss of the game, it's 2 games suspended. It finished there. So unless if Zola Majavu decided or can decide to charge the player for other misconduct in terms of the NSL rules, of which I try to check now as to is there any charge that they can lay on Zungu. I could not find one.
Yeah, because that was one of the big questions people were saying, and I'm wondering about. So I'm glad that you've got it all ironed out here.
Yeah, as I said, the only thing that there's a form that as referees we write when we write misconduct report. If you get a red card, you don't leave the field of play. We can charge you. If the referee writes. But apart from that, there's nothing from the referee side from the loss of the game that we can.
Gary Goldstone, the PSL prosecutor, can then, because I don't think it would be Zola, would it?
No, it will be Zola because he's the prosecutor.
Go back to, I'm reading what Mpo's saying here, and he's speaking about how Mango, I think, has been charged back in the day when Gary Goldstone was still the PSL prosecutor. I don't remember
it was for
the incident.
spitting. I think it was for spitting, no? If I'm not mistaken.
Do you remember that incident?
Yeah, and spitting, someone was charged.
Yeah.
I think it was Mango. Yeah,
it was Mango.
Yes.
It was Mango.
Yeah, Mabuti Kenyeza as well, when he was playing for Ajax, he spit at the
match
was it after receiving a raid?
Mabuti, I don't remember.
Mabuti, I don't think he had a raid at that point.
Mabuti.
Was he given a raid and then he spat?
Yeah, Mabuti was once in big trouble with the league.
Yeah, I think he'd been given either a yellow or a red card and he spat in the direction.
The Mango one I remember.
Yeah.
Gary Goldstone was still, like Mpo says here, the PSL prosecutor at the time, and then he went to further charge him for other things. But it's okay. Mazola, very quickly, well, what's to happen to Kaizer Chiefs now?
Well, as you've said, Zola Majavu had made it clear that if Kaizer Chiefs, on the back of 2 incidents in which there was stadium unruly behavior from the Kaizer Chiefs fans, if it happened again within the space of 6 months, Chiefs would face a lockout, which is a stadium ban. Their next league fixture, my assumption is that it would be a home game, because if it's an away game, then it's not their game. The fans would not be allowed in, and it's happened on a few occasions where Kaizer Chiefs over the past have played behind closed doors. And with that, with what happened over the weekend at FNB Stadium, a lockout is imminent now. There's no 2 ways about it. It's just a matter of when. Is it going to be the Soweto Derby? Because that's Kaizer Chiefs.
That's 2 games away.
It's Chiefs play away to Golden Arrows this weekend.
Count. And then they play Cape Town Spurs.
And then they play Cape Town Spurs
home.
At home, and then they play the Soweto Derby on the 11th.
So it's mostly going to be the Cape Town Spurs game if it's done immediately.
Yeah.
And then they can host the Derby.
Yeah, but obviously those things take time. The Chiefs lawyers, unless Chiefs just plead guilty, and it is what it is. But from what Zola Majavu said, definitely a stadium ban for the Chiefs supporters before the season is over. I would assume is going to kick in.
And Zola is quick, eh?
Yeah, he doesn't waste. I think Zola Majavu writes a report, charge sheet while he's watching the game.
Serious, it's very quick.
I think he writes a charge sheet while he's watching the game.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to you guys. We've lifted over. I can see Bongani Kolisa, Lisibe, Caesar, Dixon, Bonkosi, hopefully to get through to all of you, but let's start with a few of your voice notes.
All right, here we go. Call Metro FM now on 0860 002160. Drop us a voice note on 060 552 7303. Waking up, turned up.
Good evening, Andile and the Metro FM listeners. I just want to wish Ncube all the best. Even though Saturday we're stadium and nathi nje sibuhlungu as fans, like the way sibuhlungu ngakhona, like I thought after in 1080 maybe sizokhalela kule Carling Cup, but saphuma nje like siqala sisuka nje bekubuhlungu kakhulu, I don't wanna lie. And yeah, just no Cavin Johnson njengithi naye all the best nje makangena nje ngoba first game I think it's on the 29th, so ngithi all the best kule game, 3 points of food maybe zoyithola. And yeah, thank you Gomi.
Thank you so much,
Good evening, and the team. It's Susi here.
Hey.
Shame I feel for Ntseki, but even if Chiefs can bring Guardiola or Mourinho, problem is not the coach there.
What is it?
Those boys need to step up, because even those thugs who break the stadium, throw stones every day. They never blame players. They always blame the coaches. Good luck. Okay?
Tabiso from Blue. The signs were there. We all knew it's going to come down to this. But I think Chiefs took a long time to do it, and the appointment of Ntseki was wrong from the beginning. We would have been in this situation if they did hire the right coach from the beginning. So it was high time, good riddance. And I'm grateful that they fired also that Zwane was returned to his goal at the development. They should have done that the time they appointed Ntseki. Remove Zwane there from the first team. Tabiso from Blue.
Good evening, Andile. Look, I think Molefi Ntseki had enough of the fans too. I mean, being disrespected like that every match, fearing for your life. I think, hence the statement by mutual consent. So yeah, I don't know about Cavin Johnson. Will he survive there? I don't think so. I don't know. Let's hope that he'll survive, because they have not given him anything to survive with anyway. Did he pick Dylan Shepard to be his assistant? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Hear from him.
Yeah, well,
Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, did he pick Dylan Shepard himself?
No chance. No chance.
Yeah?
No chance.
But this is it.
Dylan
is your assistant.
Dylan is your guy.
You don't think they said to them and said, hey, there's Arthur and Dylan, which one would you prefer?
No chance.
Bongani is out in Vlakfontein. Bongani. Oh, terribly sorry, Bongani. I know you had an important point there. Olisa is here in Johannesburg. Hi, Bo. Lisibe? Let's try Lisibe.
Of course, Lisibe will talk to him.
Lisibe, what's up?
When was the last time I was on this show, James? To be honest.
Long time.
No, it's been a while. It's been a while, Lisibe. It's been a while. So make it count, boy. Let's hear it.
I want to talk about the cricket, but it's fine. Let's leave it for another day.
Okay.
Speaking of Kaizer Chiefs, to be honest with you, the writing was on the wall. I'm not promoting violence in whichever way. Right? I remember when Ncube was appointed, this show was flooded with calls. Twitter nearly crashed, X nearly crashed. Right? Now, coming to Mazola's point, I'm in saying that I'm not saying he's saying Johnson will not succeed. Look at Aston Villa's coach, Unai Emery, when he took over the team and where the team ended last season. I hope you understand. Lastly, my last point is that we as supporters of the team, we need to learn to support the team. But clearly the problem is not the coach. Management need to take a look at themselves. Thank you, Andile.
Can I tell you one of my biggest issues with this big club that is Kaizer Chiefs is communication. I don't know about, and I'm not talking just about here, how many interviews, and I'm not talking about post-match and pre-matches, how often do you get to sit with the coach? Not here, guys. I understand that he's not coming here. Anywhere else, where the coach sits down and then lets the fans in on what he's trying to do, where he is, what his plan is. That's that sort of conversation like many coaches do across stations. I think there's cocooning and protection, and then there's just allowing for misinformation and miscommunication between the two.
Yeah, also, when you're not winning trophies, it's become difficult to do that, because let me paint a picture with the Orlando Pirates coach, for instance. When he arrived, we'd been complaining to Thandi, the media officer, that we haven't gotten to speak to the coach. We only see the coach in a build-up to a match at the end of the game. Why can't we get to speak to the coach, sit down in studio? And when the coach won the MTN 8, obviously he went around doing a media tour, did different radio stations, publications. The same when he won the Nedbank Cup, now again the MTN 8. So it just flows.
So is that what they're waiting for?
We're gonna wait for another.
Let's go to Caesar. Caesar's out in Pretoria, wants to speak about Ntseki and Johnson. Caesar.
Hey, Ma.
Hey, man, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, not good. I'll take a quick one. On the Molefi Ntseki, I think it's a good thing that Molefi has left Kaizer Chiefs, and I'll tell you why. The reason is very simple. One, it's good for his health and his sanity. Chiefs fans, we never gave this guy a chance. He started from the back foot, apart from the fact that he was never the right coach. And secondly, I realized of late that he was not a brave coach, and his true tests came when they signed Mteto. I knew for a fact that he was going to battle to choose between Mteto, Castillo, and Matt, and it proved to be one of his downfalls. Secondly, Kevin Johnson, good thing, good appointment. Maramo they just want to see how we're going to respond. If we are receptive to Kevin, they want to sign Kevin for good. But other than that, I'm happy Molefi has left. It's good for him. He was never the right coach of Kaizer Chiefs, and we wish him all the best.
Can I tell you, when Hlompho Kekana said, guys, Ox is a great player, but that's not what Kaizer Chiefs needs right now. They need a striker, a goal poacher. He was, yeah, I know.
He was hammered.
Yeah, I know. He was told to go back to Limpopo.
I've since gotten some insight into the whole Ox thing as well, with regards to yes, great on the eye, but Chiefs and Staleys play the different type of football. Look, I'm not a football coach, but some coaches, some analysts who have had a conversation with, were talking about how Staleys are always running, so it was easy for Ox to break play and pass to the next guy, whether it's Mendieta or whatever the Titus, whatever the case may be. At Chiefs, they are now passing him the ball and expecting him to make it happen. And at the moment, he's being exposed that's not his strength.
Wow. Let's go to Mteto. Mteto's out in Witbank. Wants to speak about Kaizer Chiefs as well, as I'm assuming most will be here. Mteto. Mteto's gone. Let's go to Dixon. Dixon is Gwamhlanga. It's been a while, Dixon. Welcome. Hi, Timmy. Akitu Irang. Bonkosi, are you there?
Yeah, Putani Lunjan.
Hey, no, I'm good, man.
Ndikhona ndikulindile kodwa namhlanje ndizukuwe ndiza ngapha kuPrahlongwane.
Go for it. Ukulindile naye.
Puhlongwane kahle nisebenza kanjani ngoRiff ngoba nginga-understand because abongile Tom wayengasuspendwanga kwi-game ye-Sundowns ne-Pirates because incident eyenzekile kwi-Chiefs whereby uLuxolo Bot was suspended. Why yena engasuspendwa yena? And umbuzo wesibini futhi i-training yenu niyenza kanjani? How can i-linesman angabaleki kwi-game ye-Sundowns ne-GS Galaxy ma-penalty? I-goalkeeper since aphume elayinini mari assistant ref sikhona simile asibaleki asenzi next. Kuza kanjani?
Thank you so much. I appreciate Bonkosi, rather. I appreciate that one. Let's go into it. Because there was a lot being said about the keeper stepping off the line in that match during the penalties.
Yeah, asiqale kuTom. uTom isafa HOD is waiting for the review committee report. So they will take it from there. So he has not received that report as to whether Tom was wrong or right. Then coming to penalties.
When can we expect the report? How long does it normally take?
They sit on Monday and Wednesday and Thursday.
So they would be sitting today?
So they will be sitting today, yeah.
So we can expect something this week?
Something this week, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, coming to the penalties, a goalkeeper is allowed to move one leg out, but the other leg must be within. So people misjudge this, misinterpret this law. He's allowed to move one leg out of the line, but the other leg must be on the line. So now that keeper, if you check, his other leg was on the line before the ball is kicked. So when the ball is kicked, he can move anyhow. So when I look at it, the keeper was within his right, within the law. So there was no need for the assistant referee to flag, unless otherwise we can prove. Maybe we'll check at Soccer Zone if we can find something, or he can tell us which penalty.
But from what you've seen so far?
So far, the other leg was on the line. So the other leg, yes, was out. But then the law says one leg in, one leg out.
Tibelo's in Bloom. Tibelo.
Hi, Ma. How are you?
Hey, man. Go for it. Kaizer Chiefs.
Yes, it's a very tough one. I feel sorry for Mr. Ntseki for his fighting, but I saw it coming. But I just have a couple of questions in terms of the signings of Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, there was Mendieta that was there. There was Mokocho that blatantly said, I want to come to Kaizer Chiefs, which I feel such players would have brought a bit of more stability, more maturity, and a way that Kaizer Chiefs wants to play. With his professionalism, Mendieta, with Mokocho, and obviously just buying another striker for Kaizer Chiefs.
Why do you think they didn't sign Mokocho?
It's interesting. I really don't know. Maybe it's his persona. I don't know. But it's very interesting because he was going to bring something. I feel like he was someone that was going to bring something.
But do you think watching him now at Kukune, they look at that and they say, hey, we missed out on something. Do you think he's been delivering at the level that Chiefs feel we missed out on Mokocho?
100%, definitely. If you've been following him, he's been an interesting player to watch. Keeps it simple, and he's making even Skukuna play well. You know.
What's your surname? Develo, I appreciate your call, man.
Thanks, wow.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukocho. Let's go to Sia. Sia's out in PE. Sia.
Good evening, Ma'a, and your guest. Ma'a, I'm happy that Ncube is gone. Happy that Zwane is gone. I hope and pray that Zwane never returns to the senior team. That Demote is still there. Demote has been part of the technical team, but has not given us anything. He's been with Cavin, with Zwane, and recently with Ncube. We don't know that he will give us. That is new when he's the first assistant coach. So he should not be there as well. Umatile should not be at Kaizer Chiefs. He should not be the Kaizer Chiefs goalkeeper coach. That guy is coaching with a careful license. Like, why is he at Kaizer Chiefs? Lastly, Cavin should not be coaching the Kaizer Chiefs senior team even for a single game. I mean, a single game he should not be, because that guy has a negative winning rate. That guy has only 36% winning rate. He failed at Amazulu. He failed at Supersport. Why is he coaching the Kaizer Chiefs? I'm giving the Kaizer Chiefs 2 weeks to take us a proper coach, and that coach must come team, and it must be a proven winner. If coach, they must come to us. There's Coach Peter, there's the coach.
No, there isn't Coach Peter. Coach Peter's got a job.
And there isn't Coach Nabi either.
Coach Nabi's got a job.
They can go and take him. And take him out of that job. Same as the Coach Nabi, they can go and take him out of that job. You want a
no, see, let's be realistic, man.
We're not going to accept any mediocrity. Now, we're not going to accept anything.
So, see, as a fan, you're saying the only 2 coaches you'll accept is Nabi or Peter. Both unrealistic at this moment.
I'm not saying it's only those 2. I'm saying for me,
that's the level.
They meet your criteria.
That's the level that I want. That's the level of coaching that I want at Kaizer Chiefs.
All right. See ya out in Port Elizabeth. Let's go to Lunga. Lunga's in Roodepoort. Lunga.
Good day, guys.
Hey, man. Talk to us. Yeah, maybe try it to Lunga goes. Lunga, you know, man. Come on, GP.
Too hard, Lunga.
Moga.
Hey, Oga. What now?
I want to greet everybody by the office there. Everybody that is there. Okay, it's not easy to coach, to support Kaizer Chiefs. It's not easy. You see, if the last weekend, if it was not for the bucket, maybe I would have died. So what I want to say is, my worry now is I've already inserted the Kaizer Chiefs team in my children. So I don't know if they will survive like the way I'm surviving now. You see, if my wife can divorce me now, I'm very strong emotionally, spiritually, because of the abuse that I've been receiving from Kaizer Chiefs. This team they have killed me inside and outside.
Your Zulu wife.
I will not comment on the coach, on the new coach. Any better they can bring, let them finish us. Now we are done, we are finished. Because they keep on doing the same thing. Zwane failed. Instead of removing him, they are demoting him. And I saw that this emotion, it means they want to get rid of Ntseki. And it has come. So we are not like other children. Last 2 weeks back, I had to go to the final, MTN final. I gave with my own money to go and watch another team play. Can you imagine? When are we going to be happy? When are we going to be happy supporters of Kaizer Chiefs? They don't care. Instead of winning good football, they are peeling Mazamba. They are doing chips at this thing. We want to.
As they're doing Mazamba. Kabelo, he's looking for 2 tickets to go watch the rugby final. He's already gone to the French embassy to get his visas. So if you can help Kabelo out with those 2 tickets, hey, go for it. Kabza, we really appreciate you and your beautiful Zulu wife.
Thank you very much, sir.
There is the Kabelo GP there. Says they're busy with Mazambane. He's talking about the chips. That's what he's talking about, the chips. So let's get it right. Is Faith here? Where's Faith? Faith is coming through. Soccer Zone this evening. Was it a handball? Was it not a handball? Was it supposed to be a penalty? We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Because it decided the game, that thing.
Yeah, there's penalty incident that we're going to...
Hi, boy. His mic is off. What's going on?
Yeah, there's penalty incident that...
No, Malcolm. Yeah, no, that's not content today anyway. Mazala, more breaking stories, more to talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll see if we can touch on other stories, but yeah, Chiefs, yeah, Chiefs.
10 o'clock this evening on Soccer Zone. It's all about Kaizer Chiefs. Do catch us.